Hi, I'm Carly DeFillo. I work with the curatorial department at Historic Richmond Town, and this is Don DeFillo. He's my dad. He's Historic Richmond Town's preservationist, and he's also been helping out in the curatorial department studying our collection of woodworking tools, starting with the wooden plane collections. So, what does it mean to be a preservationist? What do you actually do?
Well, what I actually do is restore the buildings. Currently, I've been working on restoring the windows on the Barton House, but we're going to be restoring a lot of things on the buildings. I've been doing this for about 40 years now. I actually started at Richmond Town, worked here in the 80s, and since 89 I've been working for outside of Richmond Town. So we have a selection of planes here from the collection. These planes are in the collection, but they've been designated available for use for either demonstrations or for actually working on the houses.
So you've been studying these,
Yeah.
Figuring out what they're for, what they do, and how we can tell where they came from, who made them, or how old they are. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about how you went about doing that.
Yeah, well, professionally made planes are generally, the maker stamps the name on them. Right? I think we can show it on some of these.
Okay.
Did you get that in your
Yeah.
frame?
Yeah. Let's see. Where's that mark? Yeah, sometimes the marks are a little bit faint. I'm having a little trouble with the focus. I don't make videos, so we're doing our best here. No, I'm not getting that one.
Okay.
Let's try another one. So people who made or owned planes sometimes would stamp their mark. Let's see if we can see this one. Okay, the video doesn't like to get that, but if you can see, there is a shape there. Oh, there it goes. Ooh, it worked when my finger was in it. But there's a shape. There we go. With the maker's mark, it says Union Factory, warranted, and then underneath it says H. Chapin. So that's all the maker's mark, right?
Right.
Okay. So that gives us clues, that tells us who made it, and there are whole books that tell us about those makers and where they worked and when. So H. Chapin Union Factory was in Connecticut in the 19th century. So let's see, how do these planes actually work?
So
What are
some planes are designed for smoothing wood. Like this is called a jack plane, and it has a flat sole, flat bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And it is used for, here we have a rough piece of wood. This is just sawn, and this kind of plane very rapidly smooths it.
Let's see some of those curls that come out. Yeah. And that's the part you throw away, right?
Right.
Yeah. And what's left behind is smooth wood. You can see where it's rough on that side and much smoother, much nicer to feel over here.
And this can be further smooth. This is a smoothing plane, and it is used to, this takes a finer cut and actually needs to be adjusted a little bit using a wood mallet to.
So when you adjust it, what's actually changing? What are you moving?
I'm moving
there?
the blade forward so more of it sticks out the bottom.
Okay.
Blade is held in place with a wooden wedge.
Okay. Oh, all right.
this does somewhat finer shaving, which actually light passes through.
Wow, that's pretty thin.
Yeah. So planes are also used for shaping wood. This is called a beading plane. And you can see the bottom is curved and it cuts the reverse shape. This is a piece I've already planed. And to see it in action, we'll clamp this in the vise. And you can see it starts just making the groove there. That's called the quirk. And it takes a little while.
So the edge of the blade is the same shape as the bottom of the plane.
As the bottom of the plane.
And we call that the sole of the plane, the bottom.
Bottom is the sole, front is the toe, the back is the heel.
Kind of like a foot.
And you can see the blade right there.
Yeah. So when it
And looking at it from edge, you can see it's just a little bit of it sticks out.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah.
So when that blade is cutting the wood, so it's cutting off a thin layer of wood that then comes out along the blade and out through, that's the throat, right?
Yes. So here we have a matched pair of tongue and groove planes.
Okay.
This is used for flooring, siding, and any kind of joinery where you want to put the edges of two boards together. So one plane, this is called the grooving plane. You can see there's a single blade. And it cuts the reverse, it cuts a groove. So, and then we have a matching plane that was made for it, and you can see there's a double blade, and that cuts the two edges, leaving the middle part, which is the tongue.
So the shape you actually make in the wood is
The
the
reverse.
opposite of what you see on the sole.
Yes. And these two, actually, we get the equal depth all the way across. And these two pieces fit together, making a nice joint.
Okay, so where would you see that on a historic building?
Well, you wouldn't see that. You won't see it. What you'll see is a joint together. Flooring is often tongue and groove. Sometimes wallboards are also tongue and groove.
Okay, so you wouldn't be able to see it because you'd be standing on it.
You'd only see the top visible joint.
And there's all this work underneath it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this is used for flooring because wood flooring in dry weather will shrink and then expand again. And on early houses, there was often a floor for the second floor, but not a separate ceiling. So if the board shrunk and separated, dirt would fall through. Also, light would go through. But since it has the tongue and groove, it can move and still stay solid.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, and I see there's a very fancy looking plane over here.
Yeah. This is called a plow plane. And this, in fact, does the same thing as the grooving plane does, but it's more versatile because it can do a groove at a different distance in from the edge of the board.
Okay, is that what those screws are
That's
for?
what this is for. This is called a fence, and this goes up against the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just set this up a little bit.
Okay, we can see the groove forming.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about this fancy looking plane.
Okay, this is a plow plane. This is a regular plane. It cuts a groove. In this case, it has a 3/16 inch wide blade. This can take a blade from about 1/8 of an inch up to about a 1/2 inch. The blades can be changed so you can do different width grooves. And it has a fence, which is this part, and this is adjustable. It's on these two threaded shafts, and it can be slid by turning these nuts, so we can do it. It can be used at different distances from the edge of the board, depending where you need it. It also has a depth stop, which is this piece, and there's a thumb screw on top. And you see, turning the thumb screw changes the height of that.
Oh,
And that determines how deep the groove will be. So you can make them all consistently the same depth.
cool.
Yeah. There are earlier plow planes. Instead of having these nice adjustable wooden screws, just has a straight unthreaded shaft and a wedge to hold it. These are much easier to adjust. You can do a very fine adjustment just by tweaking the screws.
So that's advancing plane technology
This
there.
is advancing plane technology, yes.
Cool. So these are some examples of the different kinds of planes that are in our collection. There's about
Yeah, there's
27 different types.
different types, different sizes. We have the planes that run from thumbnail planes, finger planes that are used for making musical instruments, for doing fine adjustments, up to planes that are 4 foot long for doing straight edges, called joiners.
So what would you use those for? Not musical instruments.
No, for getting straight edges on boards, floorboards, clapboards. The clapboards are the boards on the outside of a house.
Okay, so like on the Stevens house and the general
Stevens house,
store.
the Vorlaser house, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very cool. Thank you.
Okay.